process a little bit after the loss Friday, 24 hours to formalize your decision, just step by step, just kind of walk us through what happened?
Well, it was 8:15 p.m. and I was getting in the shower, and I got a text that my decision actually had to be done by 9 p.m. Eastern time, not 12 p.m. So therefore, I had 45 minutes to decide what I was going to do, and I thought I had a lot more time than that. So I took a quick shower, ate something, decided I would make this decision on a full stomach, and went on a walk with my brother and my mom, and it was close to 9, and we sat down on a bench right near the hotel. And Eddie was actually freaking out a little bit more than I was. He was with his friends, and he had texted me and said, "Sabrina, I need to see you. I'm freaking out." So I was like, "All right, we're at a bench. Come meet us." And he was like, "Do what your heart tells you. I know this is hard. It's a hard decision for you. It's always been your goal to play professionally. But I want you to do what makes you happy. I'm going to stand behind you, whatever you do." And then there's kind of just a moment of silence. And I said, "I'm staying." And that was kind of it. My mom, my brother were crying. I was crying. And I was like, "I'm staying. Like, that's what I want to do." And so called my coaches, told my team first, of course, my coaches first. Then I realized that there was an article that was out that I was leaving. And so I had to make sure that I posted what I had to on social media before I continued to get all these texts about congratulating me for leaving, and before scaring my coaches. So that's basically what happened in that 45 minutes.
How did the players' review piece come together as far as timetable?
They literally called me at like 8. And they just said that they wanted to do a story. I told them I wasn't 100% sure with what my decision was going to be, but I was going to write the story as if I had been staying. And so I told them, obviously, if I wasn't going to stay, to not post that story. And so they had done it, and we did it in like 15 minutes. I told the story, and they ended up typing it and sent it to me. I looked over it, and I added and removed some of the pieces that I wanted to, and then it was posted.
For both of you, I mean, it's good news, bad news. Good news is made Final Four. The bad news is that you only had 24 hours to finalize that. Just how stressful was that? Can both of you have thoughts on kind of the nature of that time frame becoming a reality for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's horrible that a student athlete only gets 24 hours to make one of the biggest decisions of their lives. You really don't have enough time to process what you want to do until after your season's over, and 24 hours is not enough. And so probably the most stressed I've been in a very, very long time with that decision. Obviously, you can't really think about it while you're playing because you're focused on the other teams. And I know it sounds cliche, but you really are not focused on that in the midst of being in a Final Four, trying to compete for a national championship. And so I really only had a few hours to really think about what I was going to do, especially after a loss like that, when that's really what I was thinking about, after that loss. And so I think that there needs to be more time. I think the draft can be pushed back a few more days, and at least the student athletes can get home and talk with their families and get a few days after a win or a loss to make that decision. But I made a decision that was best for me. So.
Were you caught off guard by that article that came out saying that you were leaving? I mean, do you know where that came from? What
No, Jody had called me, and all she said was, "Did you lie to me?" And I said, "What?" And she said, "Are you on social media right now?" And I said, "No, but my phone's blowing up." And she said, "Go check social media," and then hung up. And so I checked social media, and I was like, "Oh my gosh," that it says breaking news. I didn't talk to any coaches. I didn't talk to any agents. I didn't talk to any media outlets for them to have posted that. So I wasn't really sure why that was posted.
I've got some background on that. I'll cover when she's done.
He got me. But they had reached out and apologized for doing so. So I didn't really care too much.
Academically, how much do you have left in your senior year in that regard?
I graduate in June, and I'll be starting a master's program in September.
What?
Marketing, advertising, and brand management.
Obviously, you'll have some team goals.
Her own brand management. How's that?
You're going to have some team goals, obviously.
I mean, in absolutely every aspect, we're going to be obviously really, really good next year. A good returning group. Set the bar high from the beginning. We're not going to take any of those losses that we took last year to UCLA, to Stanford. We're not going to go down that road next year, especially it being, me and Ruthie's last year together, and make the most out of every game, every practice, because it does go by really quickly, and we're already, seniors and on a mission to win a national championship, and everything's going to be super important. So starting from that first day that we start workouts, hopefully in a couple weeks, it's going to be taken seriously, and make sure that the team is held to a super high standard.
I know you said you would have liked more time than the 24 hours, but what kind of things would you like to think about, or context would you like to have made during the more expanded time frame to make a decision?
I mean, I don't think I would have made it a different decision, but I just think having more time to sit down, talk to my family, really, really think about what I was going to do would have been helpful. Knowing me, I probably still would have made the decision within the 45 minutes that I was allotted. But I would have enjoyed more time of just some sort of relaxation. I mean, I just got out of the game. I was already getting bombarded with questions about what I was going to do. Of course, I was upset about the loss. And so I didn't really want that to affect my team and them thinking that I was more, focused on what I was going to do next year than them. And so I think I would have enjoyed at least another day. But it ultimately doesn't matter. I made the best decision.
How far did your mind go down the path of what, had you gone professional, what exactly that picture looked like? Beyond the draft happens in 48 hours, 24 from now, and the money that's there, but did overseas and money and endorsements, did all these things start going into your mind? And how far down that road did you really get in that, considering?
I mean, I don't really know the logistics of all that stuff. I didn't really look too much into it. My high school coach took care of a lot of that stuff, but of course I had put everything into consideration. But when I told myself, I had asked myself if that's what I was going to do, and I kind of put myself in that scenario of talking to my coaches and my team and telling them that I was going to leave, there was a hole in my stomach, and it just didn't feel right. And so at that moment I knew that I wasn't going to be able to talk myself into leaving, and that's when ultimately I made my decision that I still had some stuff that I had to take care of, and I dedicated 4 years to this team, to my coaches, and I needed to do that.
The theme of the story was unfinished business, given how the season ended this year in Tampa. Do you think it would have been a different decision, or at least you would have approached the decision differently had you guys still been playing and gone to the final and maybe won that final this year?
I mean, the title might have been different, but ultimately I would have wanted to come back for another one. So I think, the story would have been similar. I would have wanted to come back. We'll be a new team next year. We're going to be losing 2 great pieces, but we're going to be adding a lot of great pieces to an already great puzzle. And so I think that, the caption or the title might have been different, but the goals that I'm going to be setting for myself and for my team are going to be exactly the same. I would have wanted to go win another one.
Sabrina, both you and Justin, a few months in with Herbert, decided you're both coming back to Oregon. What do you think that says about being a student athlete here and playing for a school like this?
I mean, it speaks volume about the University of Oregon and athletics, and how important it is for us as student athletes to represent Oregon. He's, of course, in a different position that I am. He's turned down millions of dollars to come back to Oregon. And so I think that speaks volume about how much he cares about his team there, about what they're building and how good they're going to be next year, and his commitment and dedication to Coach Cristobal and their staff. But I think, both of us made great decisions to come back to school and represent Oregon in the best way that we can.
That brings me to my next question. You used your platform a lot this spring to talk about women in sports. Do you think if the WNBA maybe incentivized women a little bit more than they do men? I mean, the cap for women is what, $100,000, and then boatloads more than that. Do you think if women were paid just as much as the men, there would be more of an incentive to leave?
Well, of course, I mean, a lot of athletes are money driven. A lot of people are money driven. That's why a lot of people do leave early. If men were paid as much as we are, I guarantee you a lot of them would be staying in school and getting an education, because their degree would probably take them to greater places in the money that they would be receiving. But I wasn't really driven by money. That's not what my goals were. That's why I didn't really think too much about the salary and how much money I would be getting. Hopefully, with the degree and the masters that I'm going to be trying to get, that will take care of itself.
How much do you guys have next year? How much could that factor in, knowing the group that's back?
Everything. I dedicated a lot of what I did this year to try and get my team ready, try and get myself ready. And I want to play with Niara. I want to play with Taylor Moore. I want to play with a lot of those freshmen coming in. I want another year with Satu and Ruthie and Aaron. And so that relationship and bond that I grew with them, I want to grow it more. And so I think that played a huge role in my decision to stay and my dedication to them and to this coaching staff.
Consecutive years now, you've lost to the eventual national champion. I guess, what do you learn from those games? Obviously, you're playing a championship caliber team. What have you taken away from those experiences?
I mean, we have to see where we went wrong in those games, and we have to improve on that. And so, in that Baylor game, and that Notre Dame game, and in that UConn game the year before, we learned a lot, and we bounced back really well from all of those losses. And so, I mean, next year is going to be scary.
In that regard, you watched the Baylor Notre Dame game, and considering that you got edged by Baylor, were you rooting for them?
I didn't really care who won because it wasn't us. But I was happy in the way that the game turned out. I mean, especially Lauren Cox going down. I've played with her the last 3 years at USA Basketball. I've played with Kalani Brown. And so they've been good friends and really great teammates to me. And so I was rooting for them. I was rooting for Notre Dame. Just wanted the best team to win. And I was happy to see that Baylor was able to pull one out.
Because both you, your brother, your mother all mentioned the insurance aspect of this. Has there been a decision for that, discussion about that over the last few days?
No, I don't really know, to be honest. I'm not really the one that's going to be in charge of that. I think Kelly can speak more on it. My high school coach is taking care of a lot of that stuff, and so he's been really great in not relaying a lot of that stuff to me and not letting it get in the way of what my goals and what my vision was while I was playing. But at the end of the day, I was not doing this for the money, for the insurance aspect of things. I was doing it for a greater deal.
Sabrina, the part about Kobe Bryant breaking down your game, players Supreme East seemed to be a pretty key and cool part for you. When you guys met him in Los Angeles, he didn't give any hints that he was going to break down your game at all?
No, I mean, we didn't really talk too much individually. He spoke to our team as a whole. We took pictures with his daughter and her teammates that were there. So I didn't know that he was planning on doing that or had thought of it. So that was why it had caught me by surprise.
Anything else for Sabrina?
All right, bye.
We'll finish that chicken bake. Good thing is you can nuke it and it doesn't taste any different when it's fresh. Okay, she basically handled everything. Is there anything else that you need to know? I mean, my goodness, she was great.
I was going to say background on the story of how that.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. So she had just called me, and then and I was with my 3 sons and my wife. We were watching the men's tournament, and then they're really into following basketball and on Twitter, and they go, "Oh my gosh, Dad!" And they knew what the answer was, that she was coming back. And they said, "You're never going to believe." And they showed me all these tweets. And so the guy who started it is a friend of mine, and I just texted him and said, "Hey, you may want to rethink your tweet." That's all I said. And 15 seconds later, I got a call. And he goes, "Well, what do you know, Kelly?" And I go, "Well, I'm not confirming anything. I'm going to let Sabrina handle that on her own." I knew she was going to have something out on the Players Tribune. I said, "I'm just telling you, you may want to rethink that tweet." And he was genuinely sick to his stomach, is how he phrased it, and was apologetic. And he said, I got this sourced from 3 or 4 different people. And I said, well, yeah, so I didn't tell him the answer. I just said, you just may want to rethink it. So he's a stand-up guy, and I know he got on Twitter and apologized for it. But, it's just one of those things that happened. And, it's unfortunate.
One of those things that came down from the league office.
I don't know. I don't know where it came from. I didn't ask him, and I didn't really even talk to him that much. I just was pretty straight when I said, listen, you may want to rethink what you just put out there.
Took us through your Saturday with the Pelicans. You were with the team flying back, and staff doesn't reach out to you until later on in the process in the afternoon. So you are kind of out of the loop for a bit.
No question.
How stressful was that flight back and the hours before her next?
Well, I did check my phone a little bit. I spent a lot of day walking, because we'd been on the plane all day. I never really worried about it per se. I was anxious like everybody else, but I was prepared either way, honestly. I mean, I love Sabrina. She's done so much for our program and for the game. I was going to love her and support her regardless of what they did. I was honest, obviously pulling for her to stay because I thought that would be the best for her. But I think my family and my boys, who are good friends of hers, actually, they stay in touch a lot. I think they were, on pins and needles most of the day. I tried to think about other things, but it's so Sabrina. Remember, she committed to us the day before summer school in June. So I wouldn't have expected anything differently from her in terms of the timing, but we were sure happy. She had told me first on the phone, then I said, hey, can I put you on speaker? Mary and the boys are here, and so I put her on speaker, and then she said it again, and, they hooted and hollered. I stayed relatively calm.
Did you feel similarly about the 24-hour rule?
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate, that again, the way that the Players Association, rules say that if it's within 10 days of the draft, they have 24 hours upon the completion of their season to make the decision. And that's tough. I mean, that's tough for any. Could you imagine any life decision? And this isn't just a small decision. This is a life-changing decision. You have to make it under those circumstances in 24 hours. I think is too much to ask. And training camps don't start, I think, for the most part, till like May 5th. So what's the hurry? Everybody's slotted. It's not like they can negotiate a different contract. This is what they're going to get. So I don't see why they couldn't wait a couple weeks, have the draft at the end of April. And I'm sure they have some reasons, but I don't think those reasons supersede the decision-making process by these young women. And, and that's unfortunate. I don't know what the answer would be, but I think that's a lot of undue pressure you're putting on this person.
You talked multiple times in the past about just the feelings you had when Sabrina first called you and said, I'm coming to the University of Oregon. Was it kind of a similar feeling when she called and said, I'm back? What would be the more emotional moment for you?
Well, I think the first one, because without the first one, there wouldn't have been a second one. There was always also a sense of relief as well as excitement. I just, she's so beloved, and I think she has an opportunity to impact the game far more as a collegian this next year than as a pro. And, she's going to be the face of women's basketball, arguably already is, and she's going to have a bigger platform, I think, as a college senior than she would be as a WNBA rookie.
Well, and she just mentioned that too, about just the equity of pay between WNBA and NBA players. Do you think it's a little strange that, one of your collegiate athletes might be the face of women's basketball across the spectrum as a senior in college and amateur athlete?
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but listen, I'm no economist, but I get how it works. And, I think they should be paid more, but I also, there's somebody's crunching the numbers, and they have figured this out better than me. So I'm not going to sit here and do that complaining for them, but I wish they would get paid more. I wish the WNBA was such a viable and vibrant league that the players could, dedicate their professional lives to that league instead of having to go overseas and supplement their income. So in essence, they have a 12-month season. And that's really difficult on your body, and actually, it's you lose sight of those players in the off season. You only get them for 3 months in the summer, and that's too bad that they feel like they have to do that. But listen, that's not up to me. So.
Sabrina's obviously setting the bar pretty high for what she expects of herself and her team. Like you're going to have the team to try to achieve those goals.
I think so. Yeah, we were a couple of possessions away from making it happen this year. Obviously, we're going to miss two big pieces in Adi and Maite, but we have a good group coming in. There's no question about it, and I think the experience that we've gotten over the last couple of years will help.
Yesterday, one on social media, like asking for some scheduling help. Any bites or success on that?
Yeah, I think people took that the wrong way. They're telling me, hey, come play this team, and hey, come play that. I know the schools in the country. I don't need to help. I'm saying, put some pressure on your coach. And I thought pretty specific, saying I need home games. And I had people say, come to Western. Well, Western what? I don't really know. That's a true one. Come to Western. We'd love to play. Well, and so... I just figured why not take it to Twitter. I missed, they have a speed dating. They have a speed scheduling event at the Final Four. It was Friday night at 4 o'clock. We were unable to go. So I figured, well, this is the next best thing.
Ultimately, what are you kind of hoping for with those? You're hoping for some premier?
Oh, no question about it. And we do have a great schedule already. I think we're, and this hasn't been finalized yet, but we're got a chance to play both Baylor and South Carolina on neutral floor next year. And then we're already at UConn. We're at Syracuse. Right now our so-called marquee home game would be South Dakota State. And, Sweet 16 team, obviously we played them, but I'm trying to get another Power 5 team in here for as well as somebody else so we can have a good home schedule as well. So, yeah, we're going to schedule up. We're going to push ourselves. There's no question. And I think you guys, honestly, the Pac-12 is going to be as good as it has ever been next year. I got a feeling we're going to have 3, maybe even 4 teams in that top 10 preseason. That's the possibility. Yeah, they're right now, I believe, in it, and they just haven't done matchups yet. And I've let the people who run that tournament know that we want to play the best that we can.
I know it's only 4 days after the season, but goals for everybody to find their How do you start to look at what this team looks like as far as establish route 1 and Baylor becomes 1-2, guys 1?
Yeah.
Combo spots you this past year.
I don't know yet. I think we've got a lot of different combinations. If we go with Sabrina at the 1, we could go big. We could put Satu at the 2. We could put Aaron at the 3 and Niar at the 4 and Ruthie at the 5. That's one big team. We could go with Taylor at the 1. Jazzy is going to come in and compete right away. She's going to make an impact. She's going to play. And she is really, really good. So we've got, and then Holly Winterburn, I think, has a chance to contribute. Morgan, of course, is back. So we're going to have a variety of different combinations and ways we can play. We're not going to change too much our style. And we're still looking at a couple transfers, some grad transfers. There's a huge market out there. It's crazy what's happened with the new portal.
With that, I know this is all inside baseball here, but there is a business side to all of this. Again, she and her family are so extensively about the insurance side. She's one of the few female athletes who really ever have to truly consider this. From the university side, obviously, they almost always covered the football and men's basketball players. To your knowledge, where do things stand from the university standpoint of covering her loss of value and catastrophic injury?
Yeah, I don't know the particulars, but I do know that is in the works and will be done. Yeah, and I think they've set the bar at not every student athlete, but for those that are projected in the first round. So I think we're following the same protocol that they would for Justin Herbert and everybody else.
And with her, it would be addition, because obviously it's going to be a salary, like $50,000. So again, probably people are influenced.
Yeah, that part I don't know. You're going to have to ask Lisa Peterson and Rob Mullins that. That's their department. But I know that that's something that has been worked out. Yes.
Sabrina put in her article that Kobe's comments, where she's excited, almost kind of fueled this fire that now she wants to get to that next level. Does that surprise you, knowing her as an athlete, kind of taking the comments that way and she builds off of what she's done?
Oh yeah, you guys. She's going to be so determined and focused this year. She's going to lead this team. She's already inspired me, and now I know I've got to do a good job. I can't let up at all. So it's on me as well here. I mean, she's challenged everybody. I love it. She's the best assistant coach I've ever had. You know what I mean? She's the coach on the floor, and she is going to get this team focused and motivated, including our coaching staff. So we don't want to do anything to disappoint her as well as the other student athletes. This isn't all about Sabrina. I think she made that clear. I think she loves her teammates. She could have gone pro, you guys, and she opted for staying at the University of Oregon. And the way she phrased that was, you know, there's some ownership there. She wants to not just win the champ, she wants to help build a national brand. And so when I heard that, I'm thinking, well, I hope the other, all the recruits, heard that as well, because that's incredible, the type of person that we have in our program. This is what we're about. So good on her. I'm really excited for her and excited for our team for next year. I think we've got a chance to do something real special.
To that point, what does it do for your program to have her back for another year in the visible role that she's in, from including the scheduling and everything?
Another year of rock star status. I mean, seriously, look at the shout outs this young lady gets for, from sports figures, icons. I think it's going to be, it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm not gonna freak out about all the attention. We're gonna use that as fuel for us. But I think it's neat. I like how she's just such a strong woman. She is answering back when people criticize her in her way. She's been bold, saying this is what we want to do. That takes guts to stand up front with her platform and her status and say, hey, this is what we're going to do or we want to do. That takes a lot of confidence, maturity, toughness, and we'll use whatever other phrase you want to use. Yeah. I think that was a great question. And I think it does say something about the University of Oregon. This is a great place for student athletes. They can get better. They can be themselves. They can push themselves. They have the support of the administration and the school. I think it says a lot that two caliber athletes, arguably the best in their sports, respective sports, Justin Herbert and Sabrina Ionescu, have decided that I want to be at Oregon another year and forego professional sports. I think it says a lot. All right, you guys. Thank you. Thanks for coming on a midweek afternoon. And I guess we'll meet up again. I don't know when. Next fall? Next fall. Well, if I don't see you, have a great spring and summer. We'll see you next fall. Seriously,